All right, it's 10 o'clock. Thank you all for coming. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you all for coming today. We are at the point in the agenda for public comment on agenda items only. Hearing none, I'll request the minutes from the August 12th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the August 12th meeting.
I'll second motion for approval.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Ready for mine?
Casey, give us the personnel items. Thank you.
I have a lot of information for the board this morning. First up is Andrea Causer. We received resignation from her intake caseworker effective 8/20/25. Also received a resignation from Andrea Hoover, head nurse at Tioga County Prison, effective 9/17/25. Also for information, following individuals have been hired. Samuel C. Shedden as a probation officer at $19.29 per hour with benefits effective 9/5/25. Shana Broussard, clerk in the Prothonotary Clerk of Courts office, $14.50 per hour with benefits effective 9/8/25. Michelle Rossetti, clerk in the Prothonotary Clerk of Courts office, $14.50 per hour with benefits effective 9/22/25. Also for information, we have that our Prothonotary terminated Robert Penzone III, Prothonotary Clerk of Courts office, effective 8/29/25. The item that I have for approval this morning would be status change for Brett Mathers from part-time no benefits to full-time with benefits, training and operations coordinator at Emergency Services, effective 9/8/25. The rate remains at the $19 per hour.
I'll entertain a motion for Brett Mather's status change.
I'll make a motion for status change.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion, we have a motion and a second for status change for Brett Mathers. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, up next we have Ken Van Zant, the chairman of the Grand Canyon Airport Authority. Ken, thank you for coming this morning. What's going on at the airport?
All right, in order to save time, and so I don't ramble, I did write a statement that I would like to bear with me as I read to you as far as our request. I'm here today along with Matt Baker, representing the Grand Canyon Airport Authority, to follow up on a request that the authority presented to you when we first sat down at the beginning of your term in 2024. This request was in regard to the $300,000 of Act 13 money, which was provided to the airport in 2014 to cover the cost in finishing the community hangar. Now, for me as a member coming onto the authority in 2016, and for the new members that followed, it was always understood that this money was grant money provided through Act 13 for infrastructure. It wasn't until the last couple of years of the previous commissioner's terms that we were told it was considered a loan, and in 2022 we were requested to start making monthly payments. When we met with you in 2024, we discussed the critical issues we have been facing with the deterioration of the airport due to simply the aging, and as well as the ongoing maintenance and repairs we face on a regular basis to stay in compliance with the constant tighter restrictions governed by the FAA. And although we do get funding from PennDOT and VOA, as we've discussed with you, through grants, to take on these major projects, we are still required to pay the local share and need to continue to apply for these grants each year in order to stay eligible, to keep them continuing. This is done through an ongoing 5-year plan, which we did share with you. It's guided by PennDOT, and as of this date, over the next 5 years, our current share is estimated at over $1.2 million. Now, when we asked you at the end of the first meeting when you asked us at the end of the first meeting in 2024, how can the commissioners be good partners with the airport? Our request was to make the balance of this $300,000 grant going towards maintaining a critical infrastructure for our region, and turn it into a grant, and this is our ask today. Sadly, over the years, the airport has had a stigma of being a playground for the rich who can afford to fly, and that is far from being true, and I think you guys have seen that. The airport supports many operations that benefit the local community and as well as the North Central region. And now, I'm not a pilot, and I know it takes way too much for me to learn at this point. To become one, my brain is too full. But I have done a lot of research over the years on smaller community airports in the country. And one of the main statements that seems to echo through all of them is that if it only saves one life through a life flight, or if it becomes a staging area during a natural disaster, it far exceeds the cost of the airport. And unfortunately, we have seen once an airport is gone, history shows it's gone for good. So despite the fact that the authority members are all volunteers, we have been working hard over the past few years in finding ways to make the airport self-sustaining. It's not easy because we're constantly fighting battles of trees growing into our air flight zones, FAA constantly changing our regulations and our flight patterns. But in the short period of time that Matt Baker has joined us, I think he has experienced the drive in just these few short months of where we are heading, and I think Matt would like to say just a few words of where we are going over the next couple months and what he has brought to us at this point. Looking forward to getting something very interesting into the airport. So Matt, do you have something you want to add to that?
First, let me thank you for coming to our meetings and offering input and support, and our well-attended fly-in breakfasts that average about 1,000 people on each event. We appreciate that. We appreciate the discussion and the dialogue that's transpired and the invitation to come here this morning to make this request. It's critical. We do have a ambitious 5-year plan to raise about $11 million, and we're asking for your support, obviously, for the conversion to the grant status. That will help us tremendously. We're not asking for any new money, but at some point we may ask for a letter of support for some of this money. I've had several conversations with Congressman G.T. Thompson as well as Representative Clint Howlett, and we have a pledge of tremendous support from both of them. We're working on various silos of potential funding. There's a litany of state funding resources as well as federal resources that we're taking a look at, and I'm cautiously optimistic. There's a lot of improvements needed up there. The pavement is in dire need of improvement and potentially replacement, and we have a plan for that, provided those revenue sources come to fruition. But we do have this local share that is required of us, and what little money we have on hand right now. By the way, I'm just into my 3rd month on the authority, so I've tried to study this pretty closely. In the spring, coming up in the spring, that will pretty much be depleted to adhere to the local share requirement. And so it's a very tight budget. We have one employee, God bless him, he does a lot, but what I've been impressed by the authority board members is their volunteerism. One Sunday, they replaced a water heater all by themselves. And we really would appreciate your support for this request. We are very blessed to have an airport in this county. It serves also Potter County. It's a regional airport. And I'm hopeful that over the next several years, we're going to see some major improvements. We have a meeting scheduled next month, hopefully, with Penn College, whereby we hope to bring together parties from the Willsboro High School. For the record, it's the only aeronautics program in the entire state in a high school, in 500 school districts. So what we're thinking is maybe offering a training program perhaps with the help of the program that Penn College offers, maybe we can do it at the airport, maybe it'll be someplace else. But we're taking a look at a lot of new things to try to transform and improve this airport. So I just want to concur with Ken and in behalf of the board. And by the way, Mike Bowser, who is our only flight instructor, he wanted to give his regrets for not being here, but he's the only one we have to certify commercial and local and private pilots. And he works assiduously in trying to bring new pilots from our area into career or vocational status. And I'm very excited about that, but again, I'm a little concerned about that. I don't think he'd mind me mentioning, he's 75, he works his tail off.
He does.
And he wishes he could be here, but he wanted to give his regret. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys coming to the meeting today and, and talking about this. And, we have been talking about this for a while, and to Ken's point, I think we were in office about 6 months, when you guys came down and met with us and made the initial request of, can you forgive this loan? And at that time we said, we didn't enter into this loan, right? It was the previous Board of Commissioners. And, we weren't in the position at that point to really take a good hard look at it. It was something the previous board had set up, and Ken was there during those conversations to set up those repayment agreements. Ken, you mentioned over the last years, you guys have been working to make the airport more self-sustaining. I know some of those things that y'all have done, but I'm sure the community doesn't know. Could you share some of that stuff? As far as what you guys are working on up there to be more self-sustaining, and how going forward, forgiving this loan would help the airport out?
Well, and as we talked about previously, the building has been the big drive for us. We have the extra office space. As you know, recently we continue to try to get mechanics in there and get a shop set up. We work with them very closely, and that again doesn't start off with anything coming to the airport, because we try to give them the space to let them grow and build, knowing that it's going to come back to us once it starts to go. We don't seem to have a lot of luck with that, so that's why we are pursuing, and thanks to Matt coming in on board, the education part of it. It's been time and time again over the past few years, we've said, because technically it was the Pilots Association that started these classes down in Wellsboro. Thanks to them, we've got 2 very active classes in there, and we've got kids that want to learn how to either fly or be a mechanic. And that's what we see moving forward with this. We've gotten better with our hangars. We've tightened up to make sure that there's pilots in there constantly, using them rather than becoming a storage facility. And that's tightened up over the past couple of years, keeping them full, and looking at over the next, probably during our next meeting, we may have to raise rates. We've tried to make the community hangar just that, a community hangar where people can come in and utilize it. We've had a lot of things happen up there, and it brings us in some rent. So we're constantly trying to push that part of it. Unfortunately, like I said earlier, and Matt made the comment about the guys out there changing water heaters. I mean, over the past few years, I've done ditches for cable, for internet going in there. We were out cutting trees last year. It's 5 guys who probably shouldn't be doing it, out there cutting stuff and fixing stuff ourselves, because otherwise we're spending $10,000, $20,000 to have trees removed. And I think also with what we're looking for from you guys and from the community is to get rid of that stigma that I talked about. You guys have seen it. We have life flights coming in there. We have choppers that are being used for the spraying, and that's where a lot of our boost in income comes from. We have a gas company, just over the past couple weeks that was coming in and buying 500 gallons a day of Jet A. That's the kind of stuff where we start to get that niche. And when we have those boosts in gas sales and keeping our rents full, that is the kind of thing we are continuing to grow with. But again, I'm excited about meeting with Clint and this education department with Penn State.
Penn College.
in college, sorry. Yeah, Penn State is farther away.
Close enough.
Yeah, it has a Penn in it. But that is what I think we're pushing. I think that's important. And as Matt said, we're one of the only areas that offer that.
Just to add, if I may, so you have a real crystal clear perspective of how tight our budget is. Our fuel sales average about $2,500 a month. Our hangar rent averages about $3,900 a month. And the gas well royalty averages about $1,600 a month. And after overhead, employee salary and so on, we average monthly income of about $8,000, we end up with about $2,630 a month. And we put that aside for the local share match of these multi-million-dollar infrastructure improvement projects. And just to add on what we're working on, we're working on federal airport improvement program funding, non-primary entitlement funding, discretionary funding called DISC, and bipartisan infrastructure legislation at the federal level, as well as some other things that I've asked the congressman to work on. And then at the state funding level, we're working on state block grant, airport development program, ADP, multi-mobile transportation aviation funds, and we have a capital budget request in to Clint to help us as well. So we have a plan. We're cautiously optimistic we're going to be able to meet this. The timing is interesting because the infrastructure is over 30 years old, and it's time for replacement and improvement. And a lot of what we're doing, we really have to do pursuant to state aviation inspection requirements and federal inspection requirements.
I appreciate that.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So what was the original grant money spent on? Because there was a $500,000 and then $300,000, so what
The
was it?
300,000 went for it was over budget. So the 300,000 came in to finish it. I had just gotten on shortly after on the authority after all that took place, but they had run short with some, odds and ends to get it finished off. So that was 300,000, and that, I'm correct with that, Mark.
Yeah, I think bids came in a little bit high, plus there were some unforeseen excavation costs that, included that 300,000. The airport authority was able to leverage some additional RACP money, but it's a 50-50 match, and the commissioner's committed to that. Again, I'm just referencing paperwork that we could find here.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
So,
But what about the other 500,000?
That was the initial part going to the building.
yeah, that was the
Building,
grant.
And then it
Yeah.
came up short with, like Mark said, excavating and stuff that wasn't.
It's solid rock up there.
Yes, the community hangar, which if anybody went out to the breakfast, that's the one that, and that is a source of income as well right now because we consider that our transient hangar. We've had jets in there, we have a helicopter possibly coming in. Anybody who comes in for overnight or 3 or 4 nights and wants something inside, that becomes rental at that point as well. And it does get used quite a bit for that now.
Is that hangar full, like as full as it can be? Is it at capacity, allowing a little bit of room for some transient?
We always do make sure, we have to be careful with that because again, it's FAA guidelines. You have to have that space available. There was a time years ago when trying to make the extra income during the winter, we would store campers in there. Well, if somebody came in and needed a plane, those campers had to go out. So we are very careful. So we do try to keep the center open for, when we had somebody request probably coming in with a helicopter, that takes up a lot of space. But we are able to push other planes aside. We do have to be conscious of those who are renting it full-time to get in and out. So a lot of things have to be moved. So that is one thing that our employee does a lot of, is moving planes around. But yeah, we do make sure that if a transient comes in and needs it for a couple of nights, she's got the space.
Ken, what's changed between, 2 years ago when you entered into that agreement with the previous Board of Commissioners and now? Like, what's changed at the airport that you guys are asking for this loan to be forgiven?
Well, when we came into it, and again, I was part of that meeting with the old commissioners, we were trying to be, we knew it could be difficult, but we didn't want to have a battle because we're trying to work with the community and work with the commissioners through the years. We watched our gas royalties. There was a couple years right around that time prior to it. Gas royalties were fantastic. But as we all know, you ride high for a couple years and then it goes right back down. And as Matt mentioned, what we have coming in now. There was a time when we were, seeing maybe $12,000 a month for royalties when it was active out there. And that's what we set aside for our matches. Once that depleted, we started watching our budget go down and down and down, and it was cutting into what we have set aside for this coming match, which is about $90,000. And we have to look to the future, because once that's gone, and we don't have the gas royalties, where do we scratch to get that? And right now, we're looking at 2 years down the road, a crack and seal repair to the runway, and I think we mentioned that at the meeting, because the state built it, but the state didn't always follow their guidelines. So we're concerned that if we do a bore this coming spring to see what's under there, that we're going to have a runway that the state says, oh, you got to rip it all up because it doesn't have a base to it. That's what we faced with our apron. Now you're talking a lot, and hopefully not something that's going to destroy the airport for being shut down for a year or so. So that's what changed. I mean, we had that gas money coming in, we tried to do the best we could, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, now we're cutting into, we won't have the money to pay our match next year. And again, if we stop doing that, it sounds like a catch-22. If we stop applying for those grants after a year, they stop offering them.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to get that money, you have to spend the money, but you also have to find that match. Otherwise, we're not going to give you that money.
And just to emphasize, we have 9 projects that we want to get funded over the next 5-year plan, and some of them are pretty significant. It's a portion of the apron directly in front of the existing hangars is not eligible for federal grant money, and we're required to take care of that with local funds only. Another issue is the airport has recently lost its ability for night departures and landings to be conducted due to trees off each end of the runway, which significantly impedes the usefulness of the airport. So this is very, very important, especially if there's an emergency. I know the National Guard landed there and used the airport as a staging area for emergency response to Westfield during their times of difficulties and emergency response. So if we need to have police or medevac or we get into a national emergency operations project, some of these projects are just critical to respond to our area and to people that are vulnerable. The pavement is severely distressed presently, and by the time one of the projects is ready to be undertaken, the pavements will be well beyond the end of their life and all but unusable. So if we wait too long to get some of these projects funded, this is going to get even more expensive. And anyone that knows how much these materials cost knows it doesn't go down, it goes up.
Sure.
You've lost land direction both directions, or just 10, not 28, right? 28, 2 is still good, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And unfortunately, some of the things are even far out of our control. And when we've got the windmills that far away, that has affected our flight pattern.
So I was just talking about 1028.
Yeah. Right. I realize there's issues up there. I was in medevac and helicopter, so are Blackhawks. They don't need runways. If it's that nasty for weather instrument approaches, they're not coming anyway for emergency. So I know it's needed to have those, but it's also a convenience thing. Like, worst case scenario, my background is helicopter stuff, like, we can land any direction we want to, same medevacs. I want to see it as accessible as possible, but is the highest priority for me? I don't know right now. But like being truthful for the public to know, like, you stopped paying 6 months ago. There was no communication to the county. So I want to support you guys going forward. But it's still, to me, it wasn't handled properly to just stop payment in January. And our treasurer says, hey, they haven't paid in a few months. So I want to be supportive. We set up here how we're amend this fence going forward, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Mike Bowser, who's our flight instructor, wanted me to super emphasize the fact that we simply do not have the money. What money we have will be totally depleted for that first project that's going to be funded in the spring. It's gone. So it's a shoestring budget, and whatever money we have left over from those revenue streams I mentioned goes for set aside for local share.
All right, anything else?
No, I appreciate you guys coming and sitting down and talking about this with us. And I think I definitely have a much better understanding of what the needs are up there. And, it's I had only been there for the flying breakfast, honestly, other than, I didn't see the whole facility. And it's an asset that I think definitely needs to stay in Tioga County. So I don't know, we'll look into everything. I want to look at the loan wasn't loaned by us, it was the previous board. This is something that we came into. I do wish our communications were a little bit better, but we're there now, right? We're talking now, so we'll be in touch. Thank you,
All right,
guys.
we do have that meeting coming up, and I think we're looking at our next authority meeting afterwards, or the Penn Tech, and Clint will be coming in. I think we
Perfect.
mentioned it to you guys. We will keep you posted on the exact time and date. Be a great time to
Sounds
learn
good.
and see everything we have.
All right.
We're
Thanks,
pushing
Thanks.
for the 20th of October.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Up next, we have the Central Food Bank of PA. Someone?
Hi, everyone. Pam Hicks from the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank. So we've reached out to all of our, let me back up. So this has to do with the state budget, of course, not passing. And there are dollars that come into the county for all the pantries to purchase food. So there's a direct impact that is being caused in all of the communities in our 27 counties that we serve, with pantries not being able to access the state food funding that is attached to the budget. So we have reached out and asked that counties, if they have the ability, if they can front some money in advance, that can go out to all of the pantry partners that are in the county so that they can continue to purchase food. What we're seeing internally, like we have an abundance of food sitting in our warehouses because partners do not have the funds right now because the state budget has not passed. So it's going to create this feast or famine mentality where all the food is going to stay there, but then when the budget passes, it's just going to be this huge, they're going to spend their dollars because they have to. And then there's the flood of food that's going to go out. And our goal is to keep the consistency with serving the community, having that continued food, the proteins, the fruits, vegetables, the canned goods continue to go out. So we are the county lead in 4 counties, and we have advanced the funds. It's not asking for a loan or anything, it's just asking that the funds be advanced, and then when the budget passes, it will be retroactive, and then all expenses will be paid. So we've done that in all of our counties, again, just so partners can continue to purchase food. We're not able to do it in all 27 counties because we don't have that kind of budget, so that's why I've reached out to all of the counties to ask if they could put that in their budget, and then again, when the budget passes, it would be reimbursed. And it's that trickle effect. Like we do military share program, we rely on donated product for that, we rely on meats, milk, and it's taking away from that because our partners then are taking the donated product because they can't purchase the product because there's not the state budget, and that's having an impact on our military shares where we're not able to get the protein that goes out to the veterans. We serve 5,500 every month, and we're just not able to get the proteins. We use past funding for that, and that's attached to the budget that hasn't passed. So if you have any pool with a budget, we really need to get that
We wish we did.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for having me, I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in.
Any questions, guys?
I'll make a motion for approval.
Yeah, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye. There's a lot of that going around these days, man.
Next up is to adopt resolution R-1525, addressing the consequences of a missed Commonwealth budget deadline.
So, initiative of the County Commissioner Association of Pennsylvania is to get all counties to support a resolution like the one we are on the table right now. R-1525, whereas the counties, school districts, and municipalities of Pennsylvania consistently meet their financial deadlines each year, demonstrating fiscal responsibility and commitment to those they serve, and whereas since 2003, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania has missed 15 budget deadlines, creating repeated uncertainty and disruption for counties and taxpayers alike, and whereas Tioga County, like other counties across the Commonwealth, have been forced to use all available resources to continue operations during these delays, and whereas the failure of the governor and the legislature to enact a balanced budget on schedule places an unfair burden on counties, and whereas the Pennsylvania House and Senate recessed as July 1st, leaving communities to guess the entire 12 months of the Commonwealth budget for 2026. The County of Tioga strongly urges members of both chambers to return to session and collaborate in good faith to serve the taxpayers and the counties they represent. And whereas the current cycle of gridlock and inaction is detrimental to the welfare of Pennsylvania residents and communities. Now therefore be it resolved that the County of Tioga urges the governor and the legislature of Pennsylvania to prioritize their responsibilities, work collaboratively, and finalize a budget without further delay. And be it further resolved that the governor and the legislature should not adjourn until a balanced budget is enacted, ensuring fiscal stability for counties and protecting taxpayers from undue financial strain. Adopted September 9th, 2025 by the Tioga County Board of Commissioners.
I'll make a motion to accept the resolution.
I'll second the motion for
I have a
approval.
motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next up is a 5-year lease with Enterprise. There are 4 vehicles of human services out of the total. We have 16 in the fleet. Our leases are staggered. These particular 4, the leases are up. They also have high mileage because they're on the road a lot, doing transports with families and whatnot. Anyway, we have a lease to replace the 4. We're also getting Equinoxes rather than Traverses. They're a little less expensive per month.
And this is actually taking the cost of these leases down. Am I
Yes.
right on that?
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next up, as listed on your agendas, are county real estate tax refunds.
Josh, anything you'd like to add?
Yes, so we were waiting on getting the paperwork back from the Westfield tax collector. We did finally receive the paperwork to process the refunds, and this is in response to the flooding that occurred in August last year. And then the property owners had 6 months to file an appeal for catastrophic loss. This is a result of those appeals. So in addition to the county money, they will also be getting refunds back from the municipality as well as the school district. So.
Thank you, Josh.
Appreciate that.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Up next is a request to use the green on October 18th by a nonpartisan group who will look to help register voters and talk about engaging in community services.
I'll make the motion for use of the green on October 18th.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve the use in the green on October 18th. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Next up is a request to purchase express pull stands, and in the cases to go with those. They would replace existing equipment. It's a more cost effective, it's more labor, it's less labor intensive for election night and the transport of the equipment.
Cindy, is there anything you'd like to add?
Only that if we do get the approval to purchase this, it will not only save us a lot of time with our maintenance, our IT, things like that, and to do things for the poll workers, it'll actually save us money because it'll be smaller, so we'll get, smaller U-Haul trucks to take things, spend less fuel. We won't be sending the printers out anymore, so we'll save paper. It's just gonna be cost effective all around.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Also attached to agendas are the 14 agreements for the Department of Human Services.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second motion for approval.
We have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Next up for information is August payroll and benefits and AP.
All right, we are at the point in the agenda for public comment. Joy, please state your name.
Joy Childs, Middlebury. Was there a name for the group that wants to use the green?
No.
Person group, was there a name for them?
Her name is Patty O'Neill.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Cindy?
Cindy Alexander. I just wanted to know, for the people who are going to be using the green for the voter registration, since it's not, would it be possible for the Republican Party and the Democratic Party also to be there on that
To
date?
be notified? Yeah. Would you handle doing the notification?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, hearing none, the next meeting of the Tioga County Board of Commissioners is scheduled for October 14th. Commissioner news, I know you all have heard, and we've been talking about our work up in Westfield, and we're proud to actually get some shovels in the ground up there. We are starting to invest some of this EWP money into the stream banks up there. The Conservation District has successfully completed 9 projects as about a week and a half ago. Can somebody open that door? Cindy, can you open that door? I appreciate you closing it, Ken, when there was some noise out there, but I want to make sure if people want to come in, they can. We're excited about getting some work done up there and protecting those homes. This EWP money was specific for stream banks that were within 50 feet of someone's home. So these projects are very important to the residents in that community. And we look forward to highlighting some of that work over the coming weeks here. We're also been working very close with PEMA and FEMA, and we do have, I think there's about 16 approved projects that FEMA would qualify for FEMA reimbursement. We are going to start working on those projects in the coming weeks. We have to put them out to bid, and there's a lot of work to get that over the finish line, but we are committed to that work, and we are excited that finally, after 13 months, FEMA's said, hey, look, this stuff does qualify. So we are working that angle and many other angles. And I know we give a shout out to the EMS staff, but they continue to work very hard to aid in this cleanup. So, and if anybody has any questions about what we are doing for the cleanup and stream maintenance, would love to have a conversation with you.
Does that include Powder Brook too?
Yes, sir. There's been work done on Powder Brook. Yeah. And the county, I think we talked about this at the last meeting, but the county went out and actually cataloged some of the damages on Potterbrook Troops and Count Eske. And we are going to go public with that document here in a few weeks to get some public feedback. We want to prioritize gravel bars, erosion sites, and debris, and work on, over the next coming years to, get that work done. Some of the work that's approved by FEMA is the debris, the trailer frames and some of that stuff, debris on bridges. So again, we're gonna get those projects out to bid and hopefully get reimbursement through FEMA for that work and continue to progress through some of this other stuff. Anything else? All right, we'll adjourn the commissioner meeting and we will enter into the Tioga County Salary Board. Public comment on agenda items only. Hearing none, we have the minutes before us for the August 12th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve them.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Motion carries.
We just have a couple items for salary board this morning. First would be to reclassify our full-time 911 dispatchers' hours, the shift structure, to a 12-hour shift effective 9/7/25.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. By way of discussion, we have struggled for years to keep staff in our 911 center. It's a 24-hour operation. It's very demanding, and it's a tough position. But the staff and management found that a 12-hour shift is actually working better than an 8-hour shift. So we are glad to come alongside of our staff and our management up there to make this change. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And the next item I have is to approve for Billy Joe Hall, our field assessor in the assessment office, an increase of $1 per hour for receiving her CPE certification.
All right.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. By way of discussion, Josh, is there anything you would like to add?
Yeah, so I did prepare a certificate for you to present to Billy Joe today in recognition of her completion of 90 hours of the initial certification, 4 weeks of classes, along with passing the state exam. So she worked very hard to get this far, and we're glad to see that she made it across the finish line.
Yeah, thank you for the commitment to the county and to getting this across the finish line. We hear that this exam and this test is no easy challenge, so we appreciate you putting in the time and the effort for that, and we're excited to have you as part of our team, and we'd love to get a photo with you up here if you wouldn't mind. She's like, oh, geez.
That'd be mine.
I'm sorry. Jen, would you take a photo of this?
Yep. Okay.
Alrighty, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to adjourn the Tioga County Salary Board and enter into the County Retirement Fund Board. Public comments on agenda items only. Hearing none, we have the minutes from the August 12th meeting before us.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
A second.
We have a motion and a second for approving the minutes. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Request payment to Corn Ferry for the August 2025 actuarial services, and that is their final payment.
All right.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Next up is our first billing from Foster and Foster for actuarial services. It's only September through November, but he'll start billing us on a quarterly basis.
I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Next up is CNN's August 25 management fee.
I'll make a motion for that.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Next up is just information for the board.
All right, we will adjourn the Retirement Fund Board, and I will hand it over to Commissioner Van Linden.
All right, welcome to the Tioga County Elections Board. This time, any comments pertaining to Elections Board agenda items?
I have comments, but it's not on the agenda item.
Shoot, go for it, Joy.
Just some things I wanted to mention, that municipal elections are held in odd years and they have the lowest turnout, unfortunately. Votes really matter. For example, like in the primary, I've seen where there's just one vote away for like a supervisor. Someone got 9 votes. They needed that one more vote to get on the ballot for November, and they missed it. So there was another one where there was a tie. So if they would have got one more vote, both of them may have been on the ballot, but they didn't make it. There was also members of other parties that were written in by Republicans or Democrats who got to, they got nominated as Republican or Democrat. They get to move on to the ballot in November, which is a big deal to be on the ballot. Municipal elections affect your community, your own backyard, so it would be nice if people would get out and vote. You can also find out if there's any positions open in your township or borough by calling the elections office, or look at the sample ballots that are soon to be out on the county website. And you can run for a write-in. There's a lot of positions that are open. And you only need, if there's nobody else running, you only need 10 people to write your name in. So in boroughs, we have mayors, member of councils. In your townships, you have supervisors and auditors. And then all of them have tax collectors, even though many of them are done by the courthouse because it saves the township or borough money. School boards, they seem to be filled up. They have people running for them. And then if you're into election integrity, you could run for judge or inspector of elections, and you only need 5 write-ins for those if nobody else is running. Also, the inspector of elections is a vote for 1, but there are actually 2 positions open. So if there's only 1 person on the ballot, you could also run as a write-in so that you could fill that 2nd position. And the reason for that is just like the commissioner's race, where you're trying to get, Democrats, Republicans, other parties together so that you can talk about other views. So again, only 5 write-ins for inspector or judge of elections. And then on the November ballot, the candidate name will be there, and then the party underneath their name is not necessarily the party that they are. It's who nominated them. So you'll see some names that will have Democrat, Republican, both under their name. And also on the ballot in November, there's going to be a bunch of retention questions for judges. So I hope everybody understands what retention means. If you say yes to that, it means that those judges get to serve another 10 years without running for election. If you say no, then in 2027, there will be an election where those judges will have to run. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. That's great education and very important to get out and vote in the odd years for sure. So, any other comments at this time? Seeing none, I'll look for approval of the minutes from the August 12th meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second. All in favor, vote with aye.
Aye.
Aye. And for information, you want to share some stuff there, Miss Cindy?
I can.
Thank you.
On September 17th, it's a Wednesday, the Mansfield University is having what's called Constitution Day. And we've been asked to come over from 11 a.m. to 2 and set up, help the students with some education on voting and getting them registered if they are willing to, because they do have dual rights, whether they want to vote at home or whether they want to vote where they're at college. So we've asked the Republican and the Democratic parties to join. So we're going to have all tables there, and I think it's going to be a great time. We're going to do some education and get them enlightened on what they need to be out there doing.
That's great. Thank you for doing that. And listed there are some upcoming dates for importance. We're getting closer to the general election day on November 4th. Pending other discussion, I'll look to adjourn the election board meeting at 10:49.
Thank you everyone for coming.
You too, good to see ya. Nice to see you.
Yes, we are.